When we see a child with traumatic affect, we are seeing the tip of an iceberg that extends into family and community, the heart of learning and teaching. Who is at risk? Children experiencing trauma are most at risk. Well, what is trauma? Trauma is a response to a distressing or disturbing event or repeated events that affect an individual psychologically and emotionally. And in discussing trauma, I will go over ACE and reasons why this group is at risk. Adverse childhood experience are stressful or traumatic events, including abuse and neglect. They may also include household dysfunction, such as witnessing domestic violence, parental divorce, or growing up with a family member who has substance abuse. The reason why this group is most at risk is because it is very common. The percentages shown on this slide are from a Kaiser ACE study. For abuse, 28% experienced physical abuse, 21% experienced sexual abuse, 11% experienced emotional abuse. For neglect, 15% experienced emotional neglect, and 10% experienced physical neglect. For household dysfunction, 27% experienced someone in their family experiencing substance abuse. 23% experienced parental divorce or separation. 19% experienced a family member with mental illness. 13% experienced a mother being treated violently. 5% experienced a family member being incarcerated. The study also showed that 2 out of 3 individuals experienced at least one adverse childhood experience. When children are experiencing trauma, there are certain behaviors that can be seen and others that cannot be seen. Now, these would be called external and internal behaviors. External is above water because you can definitely see that there's something wrong with the child. And internal is not something that is easily detected. These are behaviors that may never be known by an adult. The child might be holding it in. So it's very important to talk about what these would look like. But before I go into detail about this, I wanted to talk about what makes this group vulnerable. The first are the negative effects on brain development. The second is poor academic performance. And third is substance abuse and addiction. For substance abuse and addiction, this might not be something that may happen now, but it can definitely happen in their adulthood. So for external behaviors, the first would be disruptive behavior. And teachers definitely can see this first. This happens in the classroom. While there's a lesson going on, the student might be talking over the teacher or getting up and trying to get the attention of their peers. The next one would be ineffectual aggression. This would be when students or children get very angry and possibly have meltdowns or tantrums and are not able to control themselves or understand what's going on. And the third are children who are more argumentative than others. Now, I have an example for this. I've seen this in a group session at my practicum site. There was this one student who always tended to have something negative to say to another student. And it wasn't because it was just his opinion and he was just outspoken or anything. He was in a way trying to provoke the students. Um, so that is definitely an example of children who are more argumentative than others. Internal behaviors would be anxiety, depression, or low self-esteem. These are very difficult to detect because usually when a parent or a teacher might see a student who is sad, they might just think that they're having an off day. But the key is to notice if this is constant and if it's impeding in their academics or in their daily lives. So it is difficult to detect, but very important because this is obviously a sign of trauma. Finding support is a very important step in preventative measures for at-risk children. At school, children are able to find support through school counselors, school psychologists, teachers, main office staff, or the principal. Support that can be found at home for at-risk children can be through their parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles, or trusted family members. Support that can be found in the community can be through pediatricians or family doctors, local law enforcement, church leaders, other nonprofit organizations, or family therapists. In going deep into the issue, interventions like social-emotional learning techniques and primary preventative interventions would help students at risk. Social-emotional learning would help develop students' social skills in order to create a positive environment. In developing a constructive environment for students in a classroom, students can influence each other in a positive way. Primary preventative interventions would be, for example, lessons on empathy, fostering resiliency, and teaching trauma-informed care to both staff and students. Before ending the presentation, I would like to leave you with a quote. A child whose behavior is creating issues is not trying to cause a problem. They're trying to solve a problem.